The Athletic are reporting that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is flying in for face-to-face talks with the Glazers today. Get involved as usual, your own opinions, and we'll discuss them throughout today's video. Big shout out to everyone out there that likes, hypes and subscribes to the channel. Give us your thoughts on this latest news.
Well, that's the reports that they're flying in, all meeting at Carrington. Well, I've had the phone call telling me they're actually meeting now. So, am I right? Are they right that they're flying in? But I do believe that they're already in there. My phone call, I'm trusting that.
Phone calls, eh? Just go through the actual Athletic article, just to update you, out there, and it states that Jim Ratcliffe is flying into Manchester to meet with Joel and Avram Glazer as Manchester United's latest executive committee meeting. United's co-owners are set for face-to-face talks at Carrington to discuss the latest developments at the club, with Ruben Amorim's dismissal and Michael Carrick's appointment as interim head coach. I'm sure there's a lot more to discuss as well, don't you?
Yeah, every month they meet, but this, for me, reeks of trouble. This is more about the strategy going forward. So for me, how did he fund it? That'll be the main topic. You know the score here with Glazers. They don't put the money in. Ratcliffe, is he putting any more in? I very much doubt it. It's a leadership summit. And me personally, I'd be saying, if I was the Glazers, put it right to Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Put it right or you're finished. That's what I would be saying if I was the Glazers, because this is serious. Transfer money, they've not got it. So the strategy is all about money.
Yeah, just to give you some context and facts as well, that this meeting is nothing new really, but it is new in terms of the location of this meeting. The Exco meetings typically take place every month, featuring members of the club's hierarchy and football directors, but this one takes on added importance given the sense of turmoil at Manchester United.
Yeah, the sense of turmoil, that sense of turmoil never seems to go away. And someone will be trying to do the PR on it, saying, oh, they're meeting there, like, so they can welcome Carrick and all that, have a tour around Carrington and everything. And it's just a normal meeting. But because the Carrick's in there, we'll get them all together. We don't want to disrupt anything. Absolutely not on as far as I'm concerned. They're all in there and they're all talking about the next few months and where it's going to be. You've got to remember, Glazers, it's all about the money. INEOS, they budgeted for nothing less than the Europa League. There's no money for the transfers. Glazers aren't putting it in. So I just say to myself, big trouble. And there's no PR here as far as I'm concerned.
PR? I'm not too sure about that. I think they're trying to give off some positive PR, a so-called United front, despite the turmoil going on at Manchester United, that they're all together and that they're still sticking to whatever plan they've got going forward. Because this is highly unusual as well. A couple of days before the derby.
Yeah, PR in the sense of let's show unity. Yeah. Let's show we've got Michael Carrick's back. We're right behind him and all that. And we believe he can get us Champions League football, which is madness in itself. Yeah, I think it's a show of unity. That show of unity might just disappear if they all end up inside Old Trafford on Saturday against Manchester City. Now, can you imagine it? A show of unity. As soon as that crowd sees Joel, Avram, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Barada, Wilcox, what will the crowd's reaction be? I think any show of unity will go right out the window because that sight, as soon as they appear together at Old Trafford, the crowd will just erupt because that's the mood. That is the mood. So this PR and all that, fine. We all know this PR. But listen, this is a serious meeting about the future and how they're going to fund Manchester United and especially fund the transfers.
Talk about Glazers loving money. I think we all recognise that. Don't put their own money in, but happy to take it out. And it's the first time they're visiting Carrington as well since Ratcliffe put his own money in to refurbish the training ground as well.
Yeah, it's the first time, but you know, you've just got to look at it. I just say to myself, the Glazers, both of them coming, and they're going to just turn around and say to Jim, listen, there's going to be some harsh words. I would expect harsh words. You know, Glazers to Sir Jim Ratcliffe, you promised best in class. None of us have seen that. No one's seen that best in class. And when we talk about turmoil, you know, Glazers will be turning around saying, you promised us you would turn it around. So there's loads of things what are going to be discussed. And, you know, if I was the Glazers, I'd be saying, what do you think you're going to do next? So for me, loads of promises, loads of promises. We've all been promised. The Glazers were promised things are going to turn around. So they're not happy. I can guarantee that.
So what sort of items on the agenda would you expect then today in this meeting? Obviously, the appointment of Michael Carrick, why it's gone wrong as well, or why it did go wrong with Ruben Amorim. But, you know, look ahead to the future. What do you think they're going to be discussing? Or what would you want to know?
Well, listen, one of the things they're going to discuss is sponsorship money. You know, they still haven't sorted out a kit sponsor. I think it's for the training kit and all that. That's been going on for a long time. These sponsorships, what are ending? People aren't renewing. Yeah. People aren't renewing. So at the end of the day, are Manchester United that big of an appeal for sponsors? And that affects everyone. It affects the income. So they will be looking deeply into the future of how the revenue sources are actually financed, bringing in the money. So for me, I just look at what the Glazers will say. I've got to look at the Glazers and say to myself, you know, you've been here 2 years. You know, you've promised everything. Are you telling us that we can trust you? Just like the fans. Are you telling us we can trust you for the next 2 years? You know, so it's all about revenue, sponsorship, and that's what it is. So for me, the strategy, the Glazers, you know as well as I do, right? The Glazers aren't interested in the strategy on the pitch. They just want to achieve a certain point so the money comes in, and that's Champions League football. And they put the pressure on the people running it. They put the people in place. Now, they put Sir Jim Ratcliffe in place. So at the end of the day, can they trust Sir Jim Ratcliffe to deliver in the next 2 years? Because it's going pear-shaped. That's how I see it. The Glazers, money, that's what it'll be talking about.
Do not be shocked, in my opinion, when I was first reading that article from The Athletic, that over the next few days that we don't see some sort of articles being wrote about a new stadium.
Listen, there's going to be articles coming from all over. They've just come out with that article this morning. Listen, the club will be talking to people and saying, get this out. And it's all about PR. Go back to what you said. It's all about unity, looking together as though we all know what we're doing. And these articles will come out. They'll spin it. We've seen it time and time again. But the fans are having no more of it. So for me, you can spin as much as you want. We're not taking it. You know, I thought if the spin comes out about a new ground, for instance, listen, I thought months and months ago we should have heard, according to Sir Jim Ratcliffe, the new details of what's going on with the ground. And then you have to look at it and say to yourself, well, if it's the strategy going forward and it's all about money with the transfers and everything else, then they're surely going to get down to work about where's the money going to come from. Yes, they talk about it being a leadership summit and it's just a coincidence that they're there, but I don't believe that at all.
And these ExCo meetings, in the article, it says they typically take place every month, but us as fans don't tend to hear about them. And all of a sudden, this is then leaked. So where's this leak come from? Who inside the club has pushed this information to the Athletic?
I don't
try to see what I'm getting at here. Why is this?
Why now?
Why now?
Why now? Well, that's a question I can't answer. And I don't think anyone can answer yet. But what you've got to wait for is more press coverage, and then you'll understand. And I think, like we go back to the PR. But for me, you know, I'm sick to death of the promises, and I'm sure the Glazers will be. Yes, we all hate the Glazers. We all know why and everything. But they're putting no money in. But promises are promises. And at the end of the day, billionaires fighting billionaires. This will turn ugly. And I think it'll turn ugly pretty quick. And if Carrick doesn't imagine the promises. Oh, we sacked him and we brought Carrick in. And Carrick, we've told him, and we've got the team around him, and we're going to achieve Champions League football or Europa League football. That has to be the minimum. That has to be the minimum. I think that was the standard set for Ruben Amorim. So imagine if they don't get it. What's the next summit going to be like?
Antel, thanks for your super chat. He says, new stadiums, same old crap football.
Yeah, well, that's the unfortunate thing, innit? We'd have stayed at Old Trafford. We didn't want the talk of a new stadium and everything. We all thought, get on with sorting it out on the pitch and everything else will take over as time goes on. But you have to get it right on the pitch. And these people haven't. So if they're not getting it right on the pitch, the revenue, everything else will be affected. Yeah. So all the plans, and we did say, as soon as Ruben Amorim was sacked, the plans are ripped up. They are 100% ripped up because there is no strategy, and they will try and formalise the strategy. But it will all be based around money.
Yeah.
That's what it is, all based around money. We've got targets before Ruben Amorim got sacked. Will them targets still be the same? How are we going to fund it? How are we going to fund it with more debt? Increase it? I think we could end up with the biggest pile of debt since the Glazers got here.
Do you think the appointment of Carrick as well has been in the minds that maybe, an ex-Manchester United player, the positivity that might come with that is trying to dampening down their own flames and their own mistakes, what they've made since they've come in, 2 years ago, Ratcliffe?
I don't think there is any positivity. Yeah. I honestly believe that. I don't think there's any positivity within the fan base, no matter what these people say. Yeah, everyone turns around. Carrick, nice fella and all that. Done well when he got here. When he was the caretaker manager, 3 games, did well. No arguing with that. He's had experience in management. But you've got to remember, it was Championship. It's not the Premier League. 3 games, you can have a nice little golden spell. But now, this is tough. This is really tough. Carrick's a nice man, but where are we going?
Harry Parros says, Glazers out, INEOS out. I wouldn't let the custodians of our club look after the goldfish, absolute charlatans. And there's a lot of that really coming through in today's chat, as you would expect as well, especially with the people who are actually having this meeting today in Manchester and specifically, at Carrington.
Well, the comments and everything, that's the fan base. There is no positivity. It's Glazers out, Ratcliffe out. They've seen Ratcliffe for 2 years. Everyone's been let down with promises and everything. So the wrath has now turned on to Jim Ratcliffe. So the big worry here is Ratcliffe's already turned round, and I'll remind you, Ratcliffe's already turned round. He doesn't want the personal abuse. He won't take it. He'll walk away. So for me, I just see more turmoil, and the fan base have completely had enough. I think this is... I go back in time and everything, last year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, okay? And I think this is a major point in the fan base where they've just had enough. I don't see any positivity. I don't see how the club can come out with anything positive because there's no transfers. There's no money. It's not there. Are we going to be given more promises? It's just a farce, and fans... And the comments say it all, really. Get them all out, get them all out. But how do we do that? How that happens? Well, Glazers nearly went bust, but Ratcliffe saved him. Ratcliffe saved the Glazers. The financial situation, what the Glazers were in, until Ratcliffe come in, it was dire, and it was going under because he couldn't work it out. Well, the Glazers couldn't work it out, and they brought in Ratcliffe, and that's given him time. They brought him in. And he's promised a lot and delivered absolutely nothing.
Gem7 says, promises are cheap. Actions speak louder than words. Some just like the sound of their own nonsense. And you talk about transfers, they throw that out, as though you're going to get some new shiny toys. And, don't look over here where the real problems are, the mistakes are happening. And people should keep the sight on what the real problems are at this football club. But you talk about there's no positivity. You should be able to still as well separate the ownership away from the manager and this team and support the manager and the team on a match day. That needs to be separated, and that still should be happening when we go into a game on Saturday. Forget about the ownership while that game's on. Support the team and back the manager. Yeah,
you support the manager, you support the team on the day, but you can't separate, okay, the leadership team, shall we say, and the manager, because all reports and the way it's gone on about Ruben Amorim, the interference and everything else, the same interference will go on with Carrick because they are desperate to get there. I don't see how they can turn round and sort of say, Michael Carrick, this is your remit, get Champions League. I just don't see how they do that without interference They are under massive pressure, all the men in suits and everything. And like I've said before, and people are saying in the comments, these people need sacking. Well, I think people are going to get sacked. And obviously, if they don't get European football, they're putting the pressure on Michael Carrick. Well, these people will be getting sacked at the end of the year. There's no two ways about it. You can't go into next season with these people who are supposed to be best in class. And I think the Glazers might be laying down the law today and tomorrow about what they expect.
I don't think anyone in the community is gullible enough to think that if things don't go well from now until the end of the season, this isn't on Michael Carrick. He needs the support in the background, and he needs everything that he can possibly get to try and get us up that table and possibly finish in a 5th place, which hopefully is awarded to the Premier League for that Champions League spot next season.
Well, Michael Carrick and his team and that, you know, they're in a position, it's not a position they've put us in, it's the people in the background, you know. So, yeah, he'll take no responsibility whatsoever. And, you know, we're going to hear interference, because people are panicking inside there. They know what's coming. They know how desperate United are, how they're going to work out the finances and everything. So they might even be looking at wholesale sales. Now, they've not done any. They've not brought in any money or any decent money for any players yet, and it's January. So where did that plan go? Where did that plan go before this transfer window opened? And what they're going to do for sales to bring in money in the summer? You know, there is a proper review going on here, and it all boils down to finances, selling players, bringing them in, and everything else like that.
And you've also got to look, since INEOS come in, you know, the debt on the actual club has kept rising and rising. I mean, you go back to the last summer's transfer window, they took £105 million out from the revolving credit facility to fund them transfers as well, which in turn put more debt onto the club. I mean, surely that's got to be addressed as well.
Well, it's going to be addressed. It has to be addressed. I mean, the Glazers, as I said before, Glazers don't put any money in. Ratcliffe, is he putting any more money in? Has he put his maximum in? I think so. And Ratcliffe's going to look at Glazers and say, what, you want me to put more money in? Well, Glazers would turn around and say, well, it's your fault. We're in this situation. Ratcliffe's going to be very reluctant. So where did he do? We've talked about the revolving credit facility. That's debt. That's debt. It's not a credit facility. Yeah. That's creating more debt, and we have spoke about it.
It's like a fancy name as though it's not debt.
Yeah.
You know, when you see it in reports,
well, that's PR,
I know you used it, but that's what you're getting from a lot of journalists out there who report on Manchester United like a fancy new word, as though like it's not really debt. It's not really being heaped on your club and destroying it. Well,
we've got no European football money. So there's no money coming in halfway through the season or at the end of the season because of the European money. So there's no money to buy players at the cost what we're being told. And we know we need big name players which cost a lot of money. Now, how much do you think we're going to spend, or how much do you think we actually need? You know, you're talking hundreds of millions of pounds to put into this club in the summer. Where's that coming from? United have not got it. So is the same. I mean, I've seen people talking about Bruno's going and all that. We don't know how much. We don't know if he's going to get sold. He might stay. We know people are leaving. But really, is the big money for players in this team we can get who we don't want? We might have to we might be forced to sell some players. Who knows? But the money will be there, and it will be, how can I say it? It will be like more debt added to the club. It's as clear as day as I'm sat here right now until these people come out and tell us where the money's coming from, how they're going to finance it. And this will be the main point of discussion over the next couple of days. And I'll tell you what, I'll be there. I'll just be scratching my head. I'd need an accountant there, right in the middle of this leadership team.
You're talking about money, what might be saved and going into the summer transfer window to buy better players, but their own decision-making is actually costing them. They sacked over 250 staff since INEOS have come in to save an estimated £40 million. But with the sackings of Erik ten Hag, which was their decision, and now Ruben Amorim, you're looking at a total cost of £35 million. So one thing's laughing at the other.
Well,
nothing's really balancing out or getting actually better, really, when you look at it. I mean, £5 million in the transfer window is pennies.
Well, if I was the Glazers, right, and they know nothing about football, even the Glazers have got to turn around to Jim Ratcliffe and go, well, what's your long-term plan for transfers? Who's you bringing in? And by the way, why are you bringing in players, okay, without a manager for next season? How can you do that? I mean, that's the obvious question anyone really should be asking. We've got a plan, have we? Well, what's the plan to bring players in for the next manager when we don't even know who the next manager is? Is that a sensible thing to do? That's what I would ask if it was the Glazers. And the Glazers, as we know absolutely nothing.
I think the question to that, what a lot of people will have in the community is, whilst he's not like a permanent head coach or manager, whichever terminology you want to use, who is making them decisions and on the targets? And I'd be looking at Jason Wilcox, because of the interference that he was starting to have with Ruben Amorim on what he should be playing in terms of tactics, formation, etc.
Well, this is where this meeting over the next couple of days, people have to be, they're going to lay it on the line. This is what I'm doing. This is my strategy. This is how I'm going to get it. And the Glazers will be looking at him, going, well, you know what you're doing. You're best in class, right? But you make sure, right, over the next 17 games and going into the summer, you get it right. Because up to now, you've got it completely 100% wrong. So if you get it wrong, you're out.
Like I said before, though, we've discussed briefly about Michael Carrick. Derby on Saturday, which will be a huge game and a real baptism of fire for Carrick in his first one. Do you think he's got a good enough squad, though, to choose from to try and get into them Champions League places? Because that will be the focus and the target from inside the club.
I don't see how. I honestly don't see how anybody can expect over the next 17 games Michael Carrick will get enough points to get Champions League football. I just don't see it. No, I don't see it at all. I don't see how we can do it, especially with the interference from Wilcox and everyone else. We've all heard about it. At the end of the day, he's been told this is what you need to achieve. That's the reports out there. But I don't believe Carrick can do it. Not with this squad. You know, people will be looking. I've told you before, there's a World Cup coming, okay? And people will be looking for the exit anyway. So will you get 100%? I don't think you will. People know inside. Them players know the turmoil. And will they want to be here for the future? And the question a lot of people will be saying to themselves is, will anyone want to come?
Fred Cranham in the chat and from our members club has gifted 5 memberships.
Top man.
Fred the Red, the legend, the 5 people who've been gifted their memberships. Give a big thank you to Fred. And yeah, a lot of people getting involved with their own opinions on Ratcliffe, the Glazers, what possibly could be getting mentioned today and actually on the horizon to discuss. And also people getting involved as well because it's the derby on Saturday. I mean, that's one to look forward to at least, surely.
Yeah, it's one to look forward to. But I'm not looking forward to it all guns blazing. I don't think anyone is. I think what United will do, they'll put up a good effort. That's what I expect, a good effort. Go for them. City, you know, they've just...
got some key players out in defence, though. I mean, you're looking at our possible front 3, front 4. I mean, they should be able to cause Man City problems.
Yeah, it's how they set up. Like I say to you, I just want them set up all together, move forward together, defend together. That's what I want to see. I don't know what his strategy will be, his system or anything. Like I say, this is the Premier League. Is he really used to it? Can he go for it in his way, what he used to set up at Middlesbrough? I don't think so. For me, I think there'd be too much. I can't see it any other way. There'll be too much interference, but it is Derby Day and anything can happen on Derby Day. So for me, I've got my fingers crossed for it, and I wish Michael Carrick the best, because he'll need it. Yeah,
he will need it, and it's all about getting behind him as well and supporting the team. And there was a lot of positive comments from Carrick, to be fair, and some of it was really where you could relate to. You know, as a Manchester United fan, you can tell his heart is still at Manchester United. But like a comment said earlier on, you know, it's all right speaking words. We want to see action. And we'll definitely see it with some of these players, whether some of them have maybe got a bit of a strop on, gone in a mood, sort of down tools, because at the end of the day, we won't have it as Manchester United fans. We will be on their backs if we don't see him actually putting the effort in.
Listen, I believe Michael Carrick's come in because, like, he knows what it's all about, this club. He served it well, really, really well. And I don't think, to be honest with you, he's come in to serve Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Wilcox. So he might just go for it alone at some point. He's not here for them. He's here for Manchester United. He loves Manchester United and the history and everything about it. So for me, I think he might just go for it alone. And that in itself, after a few games, if he does well, great. If he doesn't do well with the results, then I think the pressure will just come piling on. And I think we'll just go back to the turmoil. The turmoil. There is no plan here. There is no plan in my eyes and many other United fans' eyes. There is no plan here. This is hope. And I thought I'd stop using that word hope. But this is hope 10 times bigger than I've ever used that word before.
The thing is, though, Michael Carrick's not coming here just to go through the motions for how many months he's got in that contract.
No.
He will be looking to put himself back into the shop window because he will have eyes to return to management somewhere else after that.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He will have eyes. And like you say, he is in the shop window. That's why he's here as well. You know, that's one of his motives. And I don't blame him for that. He's in the shop window for the future. So for me, will he go down? Will he go down with Wilcox and all that by listening to them? If he's in the shop window, which I believe he is, right, he will want to do it his way without the interference. But all we've ever heard is interference. That's why there's so much turmoil. That's why it's carnage and chaos. So Carrick has to make a stand at some point here. If he wants a future in management, then he's got to be able, he's got to go his own route. And I don't believe that's the case because the people in the background are desperate. They're desperate to keep hold of the job in the future. They're desperate to turn it round, the failure what they've been involved in. So for me, Carrick, big trouble. That's all I can see.
I like the positivity, but like I said, you know, actions speak louder than words, and we'll see it on the pitch. And you go back to Darren Fletcher before the Burnley game, very positive around the squad. You know, the attitude still behind the scenes, but then come after that Brighton game, it was a very, very different Darren Fletcher. And he was aiming a lot of it about the players that they're playing for the futures, and they need to dig in deep. I'm just wondering, after 3 games with Michael Carrick, I just hope that we don't see him go into a shell where he's then actually mentioning about certain players or attitudes within the group that it's not good enough.
Well, Carrick's got 17 games. Fletcher had 2, but I tell you what, he just got out of there rapid. That's how I look at it. He got out of there rapid. He knew he wouldn't be able to be part of Carrick's team with what he said and how he's looked at this squad. He's thought, no, I'm out of here. But Carrick, I think Carrick will be calm. That's how he is by nature anyway. And you've just got to listen to his words. He won't blame himself. What he'll do is say, I'm in a situation, I'm doing my best. But at the end of the day, look, things might turn round here. You know, I'm always optimistic. And you've got to look at the City game and the Arsenal game. Has he got anything to lose? No, he hasn't. Okay? There's not one person going to say anything about Michael Carrick going into the next 2 games. So he has got everything going for him. And he can take the chances. And these 2 games, he has to take the chance. And he has to be, right, on the front foot. That's what he has to do. So for me, I think the next 2 games will be exciting. That's how I see it.
Yeah, you look in the central midfield area, it is a bit weak, so to speak, for Manchester United, and that's where you would want him to do business in getting at least 1 or 2 central midfielders in the summer. But up top in them front 3-4 places, he has got options to choose from up there, so it's going to be interesting to see how he sets up tactically, his formation, and who he actually starts against City as well. Yeah,
it's all going to be interesting. I don't know which way he's going to set up tactically or anything, which players are in, which players are out. So we're all going to learn something on Saturday against City, but he's got it tough. And for me, you know, you look at some of these players, some players,
they know they're going for the exit door in the summer. You know, you look at the likes of Casemiro, Harry Maguire. I mean, Casemiro at times, he's done a job for us, but he's just not that player who we all thought he once was at Real Madrid anymore. And time catches up with us all. But
time catches up with us all. But I'll tell you something now.
I'm more disappointed in Agati, to be honest with you.
Let me finish here, because I'll tell you what, some people might be surprised. Some people might be surprised. Oh, we're all disappointed with Ugarte. I think he'll start Harry Maguire. I absolutely do. I think he'll start with Harry Maguire on Saturday against City. Someone who he can trust straight away. That's what I believe.
Yeah. And Martinez.
Well, I don't know about Martinez. I just think he'll start with Harry Maguire, who I believe he can trust.
Okay, big statement, but I'm sure we'll go through a lot more of the ins and outs looking at that game on Saturday in tomorrow's video. But I'd just like to thank every single one of you for joining us today, getting involved with your opinions. It's been popping off in the live chat, and it's always great to see a mix of opinions. That's most important. Big shout out to everyone out there as well who likes, hypes and subscribes to the channel. You take care, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.